Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about triggers. Yes, your triggers are very important to acknowledge, okay? So, I wanted to talk about this because I feel like it's a very important topic to talk about, especially when we're talking about, your spiritual path and spiritual evolution. It's actually very key to a lot of your spiritual evolution. My experience with this has been a very long one. I would say, like, recently, earlier this year, I came to terms with a lot of my triggers. And I started to change my perspective on them. Before, when a lot of triggers would come up within myself, I would tend to feel like very frustrated with myself and be like, oh my God, like, why do I feel this way? Nobody likes to feel like someone is like getting them or like, like pushing their buttons. Something that I found when reflecting on my triggers is that, it's a deep source of like spiritual transformation. And it allows me to have, a sense of awareness within myself and what's in my subconscious. Your triggers are like basically like an alert in like your spiritual shadow body. It alerts you to things that want to be acknowledged. This is where we get into like shadow work and things of that nature. This is part of the shadow work. When you're interacting with the external world, kind of understanding like the things, the people around you that trigger you the most are actually like your blessings. Looking at your triggers that way and removing the ego out of it, I feel like a lot of us, with us being human, naturally, we want to maintain this appearance of like things external of you aren't bothering you, or like things external of you, like they like they can't, I wouldn't say they can't influence you, but in a sense of like, they don't affect you. We always want to like have up this face like, like we're good and like we're untouchable, like when really we're human. We all have like our traumatic experiences and things of that nature that really affect us on like a deep emotional level, creating like traumas and things that we repress. So, with shadow work, it allows you to explore that with your triggers. It allows you to explore a lot of repressed emotions and dramas that are hidden beneath the surface that want to be expressed in a positive way. So the whole point of your triggers, I found that in my experience, whenever I get triggered about something, I end up going through like a deep transformation within myself, and whatever was repressed is now being expressed in a more positive manner. Why? Because you're not blocking it from like flowing out of you. This is also part of like alchemy and, energetic like transmutation within your energetic body, is like acknowledging things that are in the darkness and transmuting it into lightness. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I found in, being triggered emotionally. I think, especially people who are spiritualists, they tend to be very sensitive about things, and it's not sensitive in the way like people make it seem, like in a bad way, but it's like we feel a lot of things, we take on a lot of things. With your triggers, what I've learned, like as I was saying earlier, it's always became like a deep source of transformation for me. And it's like after the whole thing, like after the whole trigger, like flows through me, and I'm like, wow, like I feel like a complete different person. It's just this aspect of myself wanted to desperately be acknowledged and expressed, and I wasn't allowing it to. So it's like this thing or this person outside of me kind of like poked at it. I want to share this with people because I know we live in like a society where we're told to like kind of repress ourselves and not let things bother us and things of that nature. But I wanted to encourage people to, you know, look at your triggers like differently. If this is something that you struggle with, you know, where you know, you kind of view these things as like burdensome and inconvenience, you know, change your perspective on things that trigger you, because this is an essential part of your spiritual evolution when you acknowledge your shadow. This is your shadow trying to communicate with you, trying to communicate with your conscious self about something that it needs. Start looking at these things in a different perspective. You know, don't look at your triggers as something to be embarrassed about, ashamed about, something that's like annoying to deal with, you know, and like the more you ignore it, the more it's going to bother you. It's very important to check in with your subconscious. And I say this all the time on my channel, like your subconscious is literally the basis of what influences your reality. So when you have a lot of trauma, you have a lot of things like buried inside you, a lot of negative things that haven't been like transmuted and refined, you end up being influenced subconsciously in a negative way, and this negatively affects your reality. So this is why it's important to do your shadow work and understand, you know, the things that really like kind of like alert you in your energetic body, aka your triggers. So as uncomfortable as it is to experience being like triggered, especially in front of others, like see it as an opportunity to grow. See it as like God is telling you like you're ready to evolve and transform something that has been blocking you, and release yourself from that blockage, and finally be able to flow a little bit better in that area, whatever area was like hurting. Because that's another thing with the trigger. It does show like where you feel very uncomfortable or where you feel very like tense. Always like look at these situations where you're uncomfortable as like an opportunity for growth. This is why it's important to put yourself in situations that make you feel uncomfortable. Do things that make you feel uncomfortable. Feel things that make you feel uncomfortable. Why? Because this allows you to deeply transform yourself into a higher version of yourself. So I feel like this is a very important topic that I want to share with people, and it's something that I've struggled with for a long time, and I just now gotten a hold of it and, you know, start to look at it differently. Like, okay, like I don't think this is much of like a bad thing. I feel like this is like literally gold right here. When I'm triggered, it's like literally that gold mine of like transformation. I evolve into a more higher and more improved version of myself. So it's just a little something that I kind of want to share with you guys, and I encourage you guys to welcome your triggers and welcome your shadow and make friends with it, make peace with it, and learn to understand it from a more higher perspective, and kind of like detach from society's perspective of like shadow and, you know, like your triggers and like your sensitivities and things, because it's like then you're going to continue that cycle of being like repressed, and we don't want that. So it's just a little insight that I want to share with you guys. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will be back soon with another video. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.